Monday evening, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Charlie, and I hope you guys have had a great Monday. I have been a relaxing one. We never did lose power down here in upstate South Carolina, so we made it through the night. A lot of people still in the dark, but nevertheless, I know everyone's ready to move past this system, and it is officially done and over with. What you're looking at right now is a loop of the last hour of our temperatures across the U.S. And you can see some of these colors here in the purple and white. Very cold temperatures dropping down from the Arctic, and the front is making its passage through the areas of the mid-Atlantic and deep south. So it'll continue to be windy, so stay safe during that. But we're going to go over the latest model guidance. We have an increasing signal for a snowstorm in the southeast here next week. And I know there's plenty of people out there who hate to hear that, and there's plenty of people out there who love to hear that. So we're going to go over the latest and greatest. So like this video if you like it, subscribe if you've not done so already, and please leave a comment where you're watching from. I'd greatly appreciate it. So we're going to move past that, and we're going to look here. Just take broad looks here. We're not going to look specifically at the southeast, just a broad look. Keep your eyes focused down here in the southeast. It's the latest GFS here, so we're going to run it out. And here we go. We get into, let's see. Let's keep this in frame here. This is right here is getting into Saturday evening. Saturday evening, we got snow breaking out across areas of the Carolinas, Georgia, even Florida getting in on this a little bit. We have a low off the shore, 1,002 millibars. So it's not super strong, but it has trended closer over the past 24 hours, at least on the GFS. It had continually being kind of suppressed and not throwing a ton of moisture into this cold air, but we're changing that with this run here. This is the latest 18Z, and you can see snow, pretty heavy actually, along the coastline here. So what about after that? Where does it go? It kind of amplifies a little bit, pulls offshore, and then the Outer Banks, North Carolina area continuing to get some snow. And then it really strengthens, bombs out, if you will, and goes up the coast and then out of sight, out of mind. So, we continue this on, and there's some clipper action, but obviously this should draw your attention right here. So, Saturday afternoon into Sunday. Don't worry too much about the time of day. That's why I don't even have that in frame here. Just pay attention to where this is. So that's the GFS model. And like I said, this has trended closer. We've had a western and northwestern trend, just like we always expect. So I'm going to grab that here. So yeah, this really, it gets going here. This is Saturday in the overnight hours, about midnight Saturday, getting into Sunday morning, and bam, there we have it. So that's the latest GFS. What about the European model? So here we go. We're just going to do the same thing here. Except I'm going to select the latest run. Hopefully we have all of it. There's a chance we don't. We don't. Okay, so we're going to switch back to the 12Z. We might look at the 18Z on another site here in a minute. But I'm going to let this preload. Here we go. So let's just move this out in time. And here we go. Same idea here. Down here in areas. I hope my face is not in the way. I'm going to change this if it will let me to... It's not going to do that. I guess we can take this. And we'll look at it here in a second. Let all of this preload in here. Still having some internet issues, I've noticed. Even though most of this ice is melted, some internet issues still around, but no outages, thank goodness. But anyway, here we go. This is getting into Saturday night, around midnight and early morning hours on Sunday. And, we have some snow breaking out across the Appalachian Mountains, and then a band of snow through the Midlands. It intensifies here along the coastline, but the coastline is already close here on to the snow line where it switches into rain. And we'll have to watch that, see where that line goes. But, the Outer Banks really get hit hard with snow, hours of it. I mean, look, it just continues on here. Lots of snow, 977 low just off the coast. This would get some winds going as well in areas of the Carolina coastline, Virginia coastline here, up into the Delmarva possibly. So yeah, that's a pretty big look there. And then we're gonna look back just at I guess we'll use the Northeast as a sector here. So this is starting off where we were before. So let's see here. Yeah, it goes up the coastline and gives some to areas in New England and Atlantic Canada here, but it doesn't really push a whole lot of moisture inland in areas of the Northeast. But let's be honest, you guys got a lot of snow from this in almost every area, so you guys don't necessarily need it, but I'm sure you'd like it. And that's a 965 low. That's the equivalent of a major hurricane. If this were happening in the summertime, and we have a lot of snow in the northern half. So that's the latest Euro model. Not going to dive much deeper than that. The Euro has been consistently showing something, and that's good to see, right? Model consistency here, and it's just one last look at this. Saturday night to Sunday morning, and then into Monday, it hangs around with us. But that's a massive system, and it affects a lot of areas in the Mid-Atlantic and areas even down here towards Macon, Georgia, getting in on this. So what about some of our AI guidance? The reason I show you guys this is for pattern recognition, because AI is really good at pattern recognition. It at least has the potential to be able to sniff out a pattern that were in the system before the other global model guidance does. It's not always great at it here. So let's look at it. This is the AI GFS model. And here we're passing our time frame. So I'll leave it right here. Let's do a little bit of drawing here. Move Epic Pen over here. So you can see moisture, right? Very obviously there's some moisture. This blue line here is showing up on all model guidance. This is our freezing line aloft. So we kind of have this digging down. And again, we have this Arctic high centered over areas of the Midwest. There's a 1036 millibar high. It's not as high as the last one. That was like a 1050. But still, that's a pretty strong high pressure there. And that's throwing Arctic air down on its eastern flank. And so I would struggle to believe that some of this stuff up in here is not snow. But either way, we have moisture. It's a miss. It's not quite close enough yet. And that's to be expected with some of our model guidance. This is the AI GFS, like I said, and it has continually shown something like this. This kind of suppressed late look where maybe on the backside some snow could get going, even though it doesn't show it. Some snow could get going, but I don't buy this scenario as much as the others, just because the cold air will be there, and we have snow out over the Atlantic up here Friday afternoon here. So it's cold, but our moisture gets here a little bit late, and it's a miss, very obviously so. So what about the European AI? So this is the 18Z run as well. I'm going to show you the late. In fact, that makes me think I need to make sure I'm showing you the latest runs. Okay, now, I apologize for that. I'm glad I picked up on that. This is the latest AI GFS. What does it show? Yeah, glad I remember this. So that's my fault here, but we see as we're getting into, the overnight hours on Saturday. Let's start it here. We have snow breaking out. This is actually kind of, it works well. We're trending this in the right direction, right? To the north and west. And we have snow breaking out in the Carolinas and Georgia. So the southern Appalachian Mountains. Isn't that something? So even the AI GFS, after being suppressed for many runs, gives us something like this. And then where does it go? It kind of rides up the coastline. So it's similar to the operational GFS and Euro in that sense. Moves on as a very strong low pressure, getting some winds going possibly. And that could be some sort of snow as well. So I have to watch that. But yeah, here it goes. So we're trending this in the right direction, right? So glad I showed you that. Now let's show you the European AI model. This is the latest, so we don't have to do this again. What does it do? A lot of the same. We're seeing very consistent model guidance here. This is a little earlier. This is Saturday afternoon, as in like 1 p.m. on Saturday. And we're getting some mix as well as snow in the Carolinas, Georgia here. Mix is just going to be in this kind of brown tan color here. That's rain snow mix. That could possibly be freezing rain, and then this is sleet / ice in purple. There's some light purple showing up. Don't worry too much about that. And then say this frame right here, this is getting into the overnight hours on Saturday, just after midnight. So yeah, we have this low right up the coast, and that's a 969 low. That would definitely get some winds going in areas of New England. This could be essentially a blizzard, so we'll have to watch that. But we get snow as far south as Augusta, all the way down to, it switches to snow down here in the Savannah, Beaufort area in the Carolinas, South Carolina, and Georgia. So it gets snow pretty far south. It's not heavy. This is not going to deliver some sort of fantasy snowfall amounts of 6 inches or more, but still, we have something. We have consistency here, and that's 4 models that have shown something. So I'm glad I showed you the latest GFS AI model, because it even has latched onto this idea. And then, you know, there's that almost another event here where we have our cold air marked by this blue line digging south, and we have some mix in the southern Appalachian Mountains here, and who knows where that's going to go afterwards. I mean, this is the last frame we have, but that could be something else. So active pattern. So what about, this is the Euro ensemble. You might be thinking, where's our snow at? Just watch as this fills in here. So this is the Euro ensemble, 51 members. This is the latest. And you can see how it really likes the, you know, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, down to through Kitty Hawk, down near, I don't know what I was about to say there, Fayetteville area. We can zoom in. Fayetteville's kind of on the fringes of this, over here near New Bern, North Carolina, the Outer Banks, Elizabeth City, the Hampton Roads area. I mean, this is a very impressive. That's a 4-inch plus signal in those areas, and we're getting even like an inch back here into the upstate. And Atlanta, you're close, but not quite there. Augusta, you're there with near an inch, and all the way down here. This is the Euro AI, so, or the Euro ensemble, I say. So yeah, this is just a brief signal here, right? It doesn't stick around forever, but it shows something. That's a signal right there. So you have to watch this. That's a strong signal for something. Over 3 inches, 4 inches in some of these areas. So yeah, it's a good look here for snow. Although I said this in yesterday's video, I'll say it again. Let me back this up a few frames to this one right here. We always, or almost always, trend this system to the north and west. Almost always. We saw it with the last system, right? To put you up to speed, we don't need to talk about the last system too much, but we started off as snow in, well, I'll make this circle bigger. It was really more like these areas. Some of these areas got snow, but the main corridor of snow was more like that, give or take some areas. I mean, it's not perfect. So we trended this well north, and the Euro was the first one to do it. So regardless of which model did it, we want to be careful about what we wish for. If we're say in these areas right here, and we're like, we're right on the fringes of it, that's not a whole lot. We want this. We want these blues, these dark blues, these purples. We want those up here. You can wish for that. I'm pulling for that for you guys. However, you do that enough, and we get this all the way up there somewhere, back up into the Ohio Valley. So we're going to trend this somewhere, and we'll have to watch over the next few days where it goes. So what about the GFS ensemble here? This is the latest run, and so we'll kind of click through these frames, right? So it's still an impressive signal. It's a little bit less. It follows its operational run a lot, so it's kind of going to show whatever its operational did. But here, just a broad look at this here, and we have, 2-3 inches in eastern North Carolina, eastern Virginia, up until the Delmarva, and then kind of another region up here over areas of New England. So it's something. And then we have, less than an inch to an inch. Just click back on this down here. Kind of up. It starts off as near an inch up in the upstate of South Carolina, but there's an inch showing up in Augusta, down towards the Savannah, Beaufort area, and it moves on out. So, and who knows what goes on after this? There's some other stuff floating around out there. We can't really tell, but this is an impressive signal. Again, consistency. And I'll just show you the run before. Looks very similar, right? Maybe that's a southward trend, if anything. So we have to watch this. And now, what about some operational runs? Here, I'm just going to show you the operational European and GFS. So here we go. This is getting into Friday, and this is a major snowstorm. for some of these areas. So we'll start this here. This is as of Saturday evening. So our footprint's going to move around here. We have several inches showing up as far south and west on this as Augusta, over here towards Gainesville, getting in towards 2 inches. And then we increase this dramatically. The Midlands of South Carolina here, Orangeburg, Columbia, Sumter, with multiple inches. I mean, nearly half a foot. Get up here just west of Fayetteville, and we have nearly 8 inches. This is not a forecast, guys. Please don't share this and be like, oh, look at this guy on YouTube, and he showed us all this. Don't do that. Not time for that yet. What I want you to see is that we have a pattern here. We have some fantasy runs showing up, right? Most of the area highlighted here got screwed for snow. In fact, I think most all of it did. So we want this. Not ice. No ice. We want this. And then look at how this increases here. Near Fayetteville, 10 inches. And we move this on. It moves. There's 14 inches in the Outer Banks. So you see how our signal comes in and moves out afterwards. So very impressive signal. This is the operational Euros, the 12Z. So it shows a lot of snow. But again, be careful about what you wish for. If you see this blob and you're over here, I mean, let's say Nashville, Knoxville, areas that got either rain or freezing rain or maybe some sleet, but not a whole lot. You're like, we want this. You might get it if this trends up here somewhere. Or, if its axis continues like this, then you can only imagine, it's centered up here. So we want this to stay in the south. So it's almost worrisome to me to see this impressive of a run this far inland, still, multiple days away. You almost would want this to be out over the ocean still, but it's ticking north. You almost want this to be like in here, so that when it ticks north, it includes areas over land. That's just my thoughts. Some people would disagree with me, but that's that. What about the GFS? Let's just select the latest run here, and we'll go back a little bit. So here we go. And yeah, it starts off in the Carolinas, the Western Carolinas, Northeast Georgia with some snow. And then it starts to show up more at the coast. I don't favor the GFS. I'm pulling for the GFS here because see how this is more over the water. And like I just said, I want that to happen because we get this kind of a signal right here, for example. If you get this kind of blob to shift north and west by 50, 100, 150, 200 miles, who knows, then it puts this bullseye over land where people can actually enjoy it here. I mean, that's not to say that, this is Myrtle Beach at 5 inches. This is not that you guys aren't getting anything, but I'll be honest with you, I want some snow. We got 2 to 3 inches of sleet, which, we sled on that, and you can make a snowman out of it, but that's not the same as snow. We got a lot of ice as well. I want some snow. A lot of people do. A lot of frustrated people out there. And quite honestly, a lot who think it's people like me, it's our fault that they didn't get snow. Guys, we don't have control over this. And if you take from this that you're going to get 5 inches in Myrtle Beach, then you are wrong. You might, but the chances are you're not. These fantasy runs rarely actually happen, and they shift around all over the place. So what my job is to show you the latest. That's why I make daily videos, right? That's why, every time I do this, I show you the latest. I don't just show you the same runs over and over again because stuff changes. We saw it with the last one. Don't have a short-term memory. Remember what happened last time and then be prepared for it. And there's people out there who just who are mad almost that this didn't perform as well in some areas. Areas back in here got a lot of ice and dangerous amounts, crippling amounts of ice. Their forecast was perfect. I really think. And areas up here got tons of snow. Areas of Ohio got over a foot. And then areas down here, for example, where we were forecasted to get a crippling ice storm by the National Weather Service, this is not a knock on them. We ended up getting absolutely saved by sleet. That was always a possibility. And then there are people out there who are who are mad that we didn't get a crippling ice storm because they wasted $1,000 on a generator. Do you really want to use a generator, guys? I mean, keep that in mind. It's frustrating to see that as someone who makes videos like this and puts them out, because I don't want you guys to be mad at me. It isn't I would rather over prepare you for the worst case scenario than under prepare you and you end up with a lot of snow, or you're snowed in, or you have so much ice and you can't open your car doors and this and that. I would rather over prepare you for that. And I hope you appreciate that, because I'm not the only one doing that. Your local meteorologist did the same thing. So keep that in mind with this system. This is going to trend. It's going to move. And if it doesn't hit you, don't get overly emotionally involved. Have some maturity when looking at these. Don't assume this is what's going to happen. And, that's enough yapping about that. We move this on here and goes up the coast with, possibly some stuff in the Appalachian Mountains to follow and some signals. I mean, look at that down near the Gulf Coast. Who knows what's out there, guys? I sure don't. But we're focusing on one system at a time here, and this is what we got. So we're going to dive here briefly into our pattern. This is the 12Z Euro ensemble, and what you're looking at here is, in these blue colors that you see here, these are below average pressures in the mid-levels, about 4 to 6 miles above your head. So just think about that as cooler air, typically, more unsettled weather, and it's a dip in the jet stream. So any areas you see in blue are like that, and then these reds, kind of salmon pink color that you see in a lot of these areas is a ridge. It's warmer air, typically more settled weather in the mid-levels. A surface ridge can be really, really cold, but these mid-level ridges typically are associated with warm air, settled weather, and higher pressure. So we're starting this off now. I didn't start this out days away. So what do we see as an evolution here? This right here is getting into Friday morning, and we have a trough settling down. This is Friday afternoon. We have a trough digging down like this. And then we have a ridge spiking up here. We have an area of pretty intense blocking in central Canada here. Some ridging all the way up through Alaska. And then we have some blocking over eastern Greenland here, but a big expansive trough signature out here over the Atlantic. Not the best look, but it's still there, right? So really just focus in on that area I just circled as we move this on. I just got rid of it. Let's do it like this. As I just circled. So we look at this here, and it amplifies right here. This is Saturday afternoon. And right dead in the center of that circle I just drew, we have a trough spiking down with a ridge out west, and this is a pretty robust signal. This is our storm system. This is the upper levels. So our surface low that kind of determines where the line between snow, sleet, freezing rain, normal rain, whatever, is going to form on the south side. So typically somewhere in here. So our storm track would be something like this, possibly. And we can look at what that actually is in a second. It's not too important right now, but this really amplifies here, getting into the overnight hours and into Sunday, and you can see it move up the coast. So the scenarios where the low moves up the coast are backed up by the pattern here. And then we have a very strong ridge out west, troughing in the east, so we get towards the first into the second week of February. That's right, we're already there, guys. So we're screaming through this year already. Some of you might not think that. This year feels like it's just been going. And we have, troughing kind of going down like this. We have some sort of a ridge over Alaska, high latitude block. All of Greenland has blocking over it. So we get out towards the end of January into the first weeks of February. We have a decent signal for continued winter weather chances in areas further south. So that's all I'm going to say there. Now, when it comes to temperatures, I'm starting this off now. And you can see this swath right here of these kind of pinks. This is below or above average temperatures. That's what you're looking at here. There's a color scale. Don't focus too much on that. Just if you see these, that's really, really cold. And if you see some of these, like these red colors mixing in, those are above average temperatures. And remember, this is January. I mean, you don't need temperatures to be super, super cold or below average. They're already cold, so any below average is going to be pretty cold. Keep that in mind. We move this out here. And yeah, we have, let's get in towards our time frame here. And yeah, this is a very impressive signal here. I mean, this is Saturday afternoon, 1, 2, getting into the afternoon hours. And look at this. This is very cold Arctic air hanging out here, right in the areas that'll see precipitation, and that it sticks around many days. And we really don't moderate at all until maybe, it's some moderation getting out here and after the first week of February, but it's not really significant. And we have a cooler air signal the entire run. So something to watch. Now, I'm going to very briefly, this video is getting on the longer side here, but I'm going to show you the surface temperatures themselves. I got to navigate here to the right, it's supposed to be up here, to the right region. Here we go. So this goes through our event here. I mean, this is getting into Saturday, and this is into the overnight hours. So our precipitation is likely ongoing based on our model runs in this area. Look at how cold it is. I mean, the mountains are at 0 or below. This is in Fahrenheit, by the way, if you didn't already know. But I mean, the entire state of South Carolina is at or below about 20 degrees. Same for North Carolina, except for very, very extreme far eastern areas. And we see this kind of extension here. This is because the low is likely in here based off of this run. So it's kind of going like that, but then it's pulling air down from the north. They're rotating like that. And that's the reason for that extension. But I'm just did not mean to do that. We move this on, and just this stays cold. We get into Sunday morning, and that's the last frame of this run. Let's look at this one. So it's even cooler on the run before. That's just some microclimate, smaller things, and it stays cold. I mean, this right here is picking up on snowpack Monday morning. Very cold temperatures, kind of like what we're seeing tonight across areas of the eastern U.S. And see these temperatures just stay cold. But there's some moderation, right, for the deep souths. Upper 50s through the mid 70s, depending on what area you're in, towards the first week of February. Some people would love to see that. It hasn't been really warm here in some time, so I'd like to see some warmer weather. But that is the last that I have for that. So I'm just going to leave it on here to end this off. So thank you guys for watching. I'll have videos out probably one a day until we get closer to this event. And if it looks like it's really going to be impactful, I'll probably do 2 a day. But like I said, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.